Moreland, Associate Publisher, and I'm here at the IP Utility Safety Conference in San Diego, where we're having a fantastic turnout and there's a lot of energy. And something that we did a little bit different this year is we have an indoor demo area, and that's being anchored by Timpson Training. Caleb Thompson is going to take us through what we've got here, which is very unique. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah, so what we have here is a high voltage training system. And this system right here goes up to about 14,000 volts phase to phase, 8100 phase to ground. The transformers are built in a particular way where they have a gap in the core of the transformer. Now that gap is a bit flexible, so with that flexibility, when you put a small load on the system, you don't get a huge voltage sag. And if you do get a voltage sag, we can adjust the voltages over there in that enclosure. It's also SIL 3 rated, so it's rated to protect life, 1 in 10 million chance of failing, and it's redundant by 3, so if one of the relays fail, there's 2 more to back that up. There's a main relay, and each relay has 2 stages to it. So with this system right here, you can put in a training yard and energize basically any amount of wire you want. This is a 1-circuit panel, and what that means is you have one 3-phase circuit. You can put about 3 transformer banks on it, and it does have remote control. Rob's over there with the remote. If you want to go ahead and turn that on, Rob.
Boy, that'll get your attention.
Absolutely. If you hear those 3 buzzes, that's telling you that the yard is becoming energized, and simultaneously what it's doing is it's taking a reading on the yard to figure out how much current is available on the yard. And then there's a trip threshold. So that trip threshold will be set over top of the current, and I think this one's set to 2 milliamps. So it might have 16 milliamps on the yard right now. If that reaches 18 milliamps, the circuit's going to open up. If we take a look over here.
Yep. Yeah, I notice you've got quite a few fiber sticks here.
Current is, you can see that voltage is 8.13. So that's 8100 volts. And this one is also 8.17. So if we were to take those secondaries right there on this transformer and short it out, it would short out without an arc flash. You heard the system open up, and I'm going to go take a look at that. We looked at was 7.20 milliamps at 22 milliseconds that it took to open that up. So now that it's energized, what we're going to do now is I'm going to grab that tap and touch it to the case of the transformer so we can see what that primary arc looks like.
Oh yeah, we saw a little bit of an arc there, right?
The big thing about this is you're not going to have any arc flash whatsoever because of the high impedance transformers and how fast the relays operate. And I've noticed when these are installed in yards that there's a huge shift in how they think about what they're doing. When you pretend like you're working in a de-energized yard, it's not the same. It would be like a firefighter learning to put out fires for pretend on a computer. Exactly. Correct. Yeah. So as soon as you energize that yard and those guys get their hands on that conductor or they're hot sticking and they can hear that buzz, it changes their attitude and outlook on what they're doing. It makes it a little bit more serious.
And I imagine that you bring this whole demo area to a utility.
So we can bring the demo area to a utility. Typically what they would do is they would purchase their own and they would fix it in place at their training yard. Like whether it's a JATC, a training facility, or a training yard at a utility, they would put this in place, and then they can have 1 to 4 circuits or 4 to 6, and some of them have pretty big training yards. So we do energize all the way up to 138,000 volts for bare hand training and transmission, and as low as house voltages.
Do you ever have utilities fly people to your facility to do this?
Yes, and sometimes they fly to neighboring facilities to us, like different utilities, and the utility walks them through. And what I like to do is I would rather them do that so they get feedback from somebody else other than me on what they think about the equipment. And most of the feedback is positive. We have had some negative feedback over the years. And it would mainly be into capabilities. Well, we can't energize a whole bunch of streetlights with it. That's correct. You cannot energize a bunch of streetlights because that's going to cause a current that would be unsafe. So, we limit that current to a point where it would trip out if you tried to energize a string of streetlights.
So if a utility would like to contact you for a quote on what it would be to put this into place, how would they reach out to you?
TimpsonTraining.com. It's that simple, TimpsonTraining.com, where they can look me up on Facebook.
Well, thank you for being our largest exhibitor here and pioneering this experience. And we hope to see you at the Carib in Orlando in May.
I hope so. Thank you.
You bet. Take care.